pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So let's remain standing. Let's remain standing as we always do. Remember those that aren't here from our last meeting, and we lost trustee of the Village of Highland Falls, Harold Brown. 20 years of a trustee, sat right here. A gentleman. And as we always do, our men and women in the armed forces. And then especially today, December the 7th, 79 years ago, Pearl Harbor. All those over 2,000 folks that service people that passed away, some as young as 17 years old. Thank you. Okay.
So, Mayor,
So I want to introduce our village engineer, Todd Atkinson, and he's been with us a number of years. And I've asked him to put together a presentation on paving that we did 2019. Yes, we did this year we did 2020 paving, as we do every year. We're taking care of the infrastructure, but after the bills were paid and everything has been done now, it was appropriate that 2019 be presented to the public.
correct.
Thank you.
So what I'd like to discuss right now is bring your attention to the screen is the capital improvement project 2019. That was roadway restoration. We decided, based on looking at a couple different factors, to take a different approach to how we were going to repave some of the roads within the village. So what we did was we looked at the county bid and determined that the costs are greatly reduced if we use the county bid as well as our own, I say our own, but a person that we paid to come out and do the milling beforehand. And we managed the project in-house utilizing the DPW crews to provide maintenance and traffic protection, utilize the local surrounding communities for trucks. I think we got, for this year, we had Orange County provided a truck. I think it was, and Mayor, tell me if I'm wrong, or we had Woodbury provided a truck, as well as I think 2 other trucks. We also were able to work a deal, I wouldn't even call it a deal. West Point was willing to take our millings free of charge if we delivered them up to right across from range control. So by doing so, I believe we saved a substantial amount of money. I'm going to go through that right now to show everybody kind of how 2019 went. So right off the bat, there's numerous grants up here that were obtained. When I got here, back here in 2018, at the time, that Larkin grant, it was actually a $200,000 grant. We used $72,000 of the funding towards this project. That was a grant that the mayor had obtained along with the village board. The Scufus grant for $100,000 as well. The mayor and the board received that, I think, through hard work with Gina doing some submissions. The CHIPS, the Pave New York, EWR funds are all yearly amounts that are established by the state and provided to the village for the road improvements within the village limits. And that bottom one's really I guess a unique one. And why I say it's unique is that the mayor came up with an idea and we discussed it with Central Hudson. And Central Hudson was doing a lot of new installations within the village. And what we got them to agree upon was providing us with the cost to repave a full width lane for every linear feet of new mains, gas mains that they put in. So we established a cost that we thought was fair, and when it came down to it, from all the streets I'm going to show you coming up next, we were able to offset the cost of our paving last year by $125,000 through funds from Central Hudson. So the streets that we rehabilitated, I think everybody's probably familiar with this. I have Main Street up there. We didn't do all of Main Street. We actually just took that to the intersection of Cousins. You'll see on the next map it actually shows going to Mountain, but that was not done. That extra piece wasn't just done until recently. As you can see, Homestead, Perry, Drew, Schneider, Center Street, West Street, Villa Parkway, Purple Heart Memorial Drive, Prospect Street, Sweezy, South Street, and High Street. And there's a map that kind of lays them all out. As I mentioned, Main Street, we didn't do past Cousins. That was done in 2020, but we did do the ramp that was shown down there, which is Purple Heart Memorial Drive. So I believe when you look at this for width and tonnage and whatnot, you're looking at approximately 26 to 28% of the village was repaved in 2019. And it was mainly the areas that were very central to Main Street and the ones that had the poorest condition roads out there that were up on the hill. Any questions on this?
Todd, let me just point out this here. I like this map, and I like the color, being that it's color coded. And so in a couple of months, we'll present the 2020 paving and show the folks how much it did cost, how much we did save by using Central Hudson and by using our own men, and just like you presented this time. But a lot of these will be colored in because they were done now in 2020.
Correct.
And so you can see that our 5-year plan to pave streets is working.
Correct. And I would mention that really what prompted a lot of this discussion with Central Hudson was when we knew we were going to do paving and we were going to do sidewalks and whatnot, we reached out. The mayor was like, let's reach out, let's talk to Central Hudson. We got Central Hudson in here. We got their 10-year plan. And I will tell you that their 10-year plan showed a lot of work within the village. But what we discussed with them was we didn't want them to do it over 10 years. We wanted them to do it over 4 years. And the reason being is we wanted to get to a point where we could actually potentially have a majority of the roads repaved within 4 years and have them offset those costs. So right now we are looking potentially that the last bit of pipe that needs to be replaced within the village by Central Hudson, meaning the last bit of steel pipe converted over to plastic pipe, would actually be installed more likely the latest date would be May of 2022. So it's going to float a little bit into 2022, but that's really about a 3.5-year plan is what they've done. So at that point, there should be minimal repairs at all within the next 10 to 15 years beyond that by Central Hudson.
I can tell the public that by these new lines being put in, that the call-outs to the fire department for smell of gas have been lowered, and that's what we want also.
Yep.
You know. So
And what I'll also tell you on that is one of the keys to this too, in dealing with Central Hudson with their upgrades, is Central Hudson's lines in the ground actually have an assessed value.
I'm glad I was going to cover that. But go ahead.
You're looking at, they're just giving us rough estimates, but it would be something that the town would be able to discuss more so, the assessor. But you're looking at adding to your revenue from the Central Hudson lines getting upgraded, because their assessed value is based on their age, the size, what they're serving, and everything else. And now that's all being brought into up to date. So the assessed value there by itself could yield the village residents a substantial additional rateable here moving forward.
And that's something that we don't see, and so we don't think of it. But Central Hudson pays for the lines under the ground, just as we pay an assessment on our homes.
Correct.
And now that they've upgraded, they have a new house, new pipes, the assessment goes up.
But Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just add, this is an incredible lot of work that they're doing too. This isn't like you're digging in sand and putting lines in.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a lot of rock, it's a lot of time, it's consuming.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is go through the cost to date. This is 2019. Obviously, the paving costs were a by-ton cost by the paver, which was Ward Paving, the county bid. The milling was through Donegal, which was the county miller at the time. That was the cost for us to rent their machine with their crew for 6 days to provide all the milling within the 2019 budget. The sweeper broom, we had made a decision, I guess John Jones actually made a decision after knowing that we didn't want to really mess around with the existing sweeper that we have and playing with asphalt at the time, to purchase a sweeper broom that was actually an attachment that attached onto the Bobcat and made life very much easier by utilizing that to clean up residue and whatnot while we were going through the actual paving process. The seal coating would be the seal coating you see on the east side of Main Street heading from Purple Heart Memorial down all the way to the gate where we didn't go into the paving, the parking areas. So we ended up seal coating that in lieu of actually milling that and paving it. I think it turned out pretty nice, and we got a nice striping job there. And then the design and construction administration and the bidding for some of the couple little projects, or not projects, couple items like the seal coating and the milling is the cost there. So you see a total cost of $430,063. We ran numbers based on projects in 2019 within the Hudson Valley, and you're looking at easily a $690,000 to $720,000 job if we would have put that all out to bid and had a contractor come in and do them and manage it and do everything else along it.
So let me just add, if I can. So, and you've said it, so we know the paving would have been a lot more if we had not gone with the county bid.
Correct.
The milling, that's the milling.
The milling would have been $90,000 to $100,000.
Where we saved is, by having trucks come in. We didn't have enough trucks to keep the milling machine going. It would have sat idle until the truck got back. Working with West Point to find a place to bring it, instead of traveling over the mountain and come back in a truck, that was a lot of money that we saved. As you pointed out earlier, using our highway guys to help, manhole covers, water boxes, traffic control, all of that would have had to been paid for.
That is correct.
And so we appreciate what they did.
That's a very large cost when you look at it. Between the milling cost, the getting rid of the millings is key, because there's not a lot of places where you can take that. We're talking about taking, I think we had 3,200 tons of millings that left here, so it was very substantial. I mean, we built a 16-foot tall pile up on West Point that was actually still sitting there. This part of it was still sitting there this year when we started filling it again. So, but that's cost to date was $430,000. Can you go to the next slide, please? Additional estimated costs, those are crosswalks that we're still looking at in the spring to do. That cost right there is probably going to be more, it's going to be around the $30,000, but more is going to be built into the sidewalks than the design and construction administration. We're looking at a couple different ways of doing sidewalks amongst Homestead, Drew, Perry, Cousins, those crossing areas, as well as two that cross across Main Street. We're trying to determine whether or not we go with a stamped concrete, with a stamped asphalt, or something in that type of neighborhood. And we're evaluating that right now, and we'll make a recommendation to the board to determine how you want to move forward. So we're trying to get pictures together. We got a little bit too late in the year, this year to finalize that, so that we're carrying over. Can you go to the next slide, please? Let's see if anybody has any questions.
Quick question.
Yep,
So the crosswalk estimate up there is for stamping.
That right now is an estimated cost for cutting it, 4 foot wide, installing concrete and stamping it.
All right, so yeah, it's a concrete stamp.
Yeah.
It's not pavers.
Not pavers, no. I'm not a fan of pavers. I mean, we could talk that if need be.
No.
But yeah, the
Okay.
concrete is definitely a better project. And then the anticipated total costs were the two total together, the $30,000 plus the $430,000, gave you $460. The total funding, which you saw on, I think, the second slide, was $511. So we have remaining funds of $51,000, a little bit above that. That was, I think we had originally projected when we first started working on the project that we're going to save about $45,000.
I had 45.
45, so yeah. So we had about $6,000 additional savings.
Now, so folks know that amount of money will go towards 2020.
Correct. It's already tied up in 2020, yep.
So those remaining funds, Mr. Mayor, does that include, you said before, some of the LARCA money we didn't spend?
If you go back to the first slide, that's a good point for me to, the grant money.
One
The
more.
grant
One
money.
more?
Another one. There you go.
Okay, so this here, we had gotten $200,000 from Bill Larkin. 72 was earmarked for West Street. The remainder is earmarked for sidewalks out here.
Yep.
Okay.
It had to be, the total 200 had to be used between those two projects.
Okay,
We could only justify 72,000 up on West Street for the actual paving done, so the remainder of that money had to be used.
And that's good, because we need money for sidewalks.
which is
Yeah.
perfect, so
That's a nice
the
amount.
money that's left out of the 200,000, we will be utilizing for our
Correct.
sidewalks.
Yep, 128.
Fantastic.
Yep,
And we save 51,000 there, or have 51,000 left.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Question?
Oh.
I think it's a good news story.
I can tell you 2020 is also a good news story. You'll see here within the next couple weeks when we get that wrapped up with the numbers. I work with Gina and the mayor. We've been working with Ralph as well to put together the numbers and make sure that we're going after all the CHIPS funds, all the EPW funds, all the Pave New York funds, to make sure that we're getting those in a timely manner.
Now, I think the laterals on Eagle Valley and a big part of Murns is all over with now, isn't it?
They are, and that would be funding that we will receive in this upcoming year. And we're gonna pay for this upcoming cycle.
Yeah.
Because that'll be funds that Central Hudson will now cut us for 2021 to
Right.
pay.
Thank you.
I think I can also say, Mayor, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that 2020, we had $130,000 paid to us by Central Hudson, correct?
Right now, we're at $130,000
Yep.
additional to what you said up there that Central Hudson is gonna give
And
us.
we still have Cook's Lane and three other roads that
Yep.
are tied up.
Yes.
We'll go above and beyond that.
Oh, it'll go above that because of those 3 additional streets.
Correct, yep.
So, another quick question. The CHIPS funds, I seen it was 120,000 for 2019.
Yep.
Don't know what the figure is for 2020,
We have them.
I haven't asked that.
which is fine,
Yep.
but do you think it was as much as that
I think
somewhere
it was
here?
less than that. I think it was
Okay.
$60,000 somewhere, Gina?
So are we?
That was an accumulation of a couple of.
A couple
Yeah, that was a couple of years, yeah.
Okay, so we could probably anticipate maybe for 2021,
I would think that whatever we get for 2020 will also be the same we would get for
Approximately.
2021, yeah.
okay,
So I think it was $69,000, I think it was.
okay.
I don't have the numbers right in front of me now.
Todd, I just have one question. If you don't have the answer, that's fine, I understand. So as we go down these streets, okay, gas, oil, gas, you know where I'm going
Yep.
with this. So now, pretty much the crew's gone through the street, they've passed the oil, which they said will stick with their oil. They're going down and down and down. Once the road gets paved, okay, and new owner comes in and says, hey, I understand you got gas lines here. Where does that go?
They would have to come to the village, and I think that was something we didn't discuss right now, but that was something that the mayor and also worked out with Central Hudson, is there is actual documentation, an application that would have to be filed, it comes here, and then at that point, because they've already paved the roads, there's a fee for that application, I think it's $250, and then they apply, and then the highway superintendent, as well as myself, look at it and say, okay, if you're gonna do this, here's our requirements, meaning, it's not so much, we don't have as much control on Mountain Avenue because that's a state road, but on other roads,
As
which
Burns in Eagle Valley.
yeah,
and-
so we'll be able to say, you're gonna cut this nice and square, you're gonna backfill it, and you're gonna, provide 4 inches of asphalt.
I wonder how many residents know this, that, hey, listen, I know I just refused to get a lateral on my property. How many are,
I think they, I
you
mean,
think that's pretty much put out there for them, that
I
they?
think they know, that doesn't mean everyone, you know,
Right.
but they'll find out soon
Okay.
if they want to have gas.
Yeah,
Um,
because I know there's, and I'm not just Murray's, I know there's quite a few that want to stick with oil
Mhm.
or something like that, but I'm a gas guy,
Me too.
and, yeah,
So, okay, I'm just curious about that. I guess, hopefully this will be in the minutes that this was just.
I think that you lead it into a very good discussion, though, is that we approached Central Hudson, they approached every one of the people on the line, because they were
Right.
trying to obviously recommend them as well.
That's exactly what I'm.
And Central Hudson's been very, very helpful, and another thing is that we're looking at down the road what potential projects we have, where we're gonna pave next and everything else. And one of the ones that came up was on New York Park, and we've approached Central Hudson, since there's no gas there right now,
Right.
is if it's something that they would potentially want to gas.
so let's lead in, that's a good lead into, are we all, can I move on?
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on is just what Todd just brought up. So, we had a meeting with Central Hudson and, it came up, where's the gas line, where does it end? It ends down by the Hacienda, and, they're interested in putting gas lines in south of the Hacienda, and in particular, on New York Park. to start with, and they have sent everyone a letter, a survey, if you will. If they're interested, doesn't mean you're locked into your answer, but if you're interested, and they're receiving those letters back now, that survey, and then they'll determine if so many, whatever their calculation is, if so many say yes, we could see gas lines installed in on your park. And the reason I bring that up is because, as you know, you received something recently from the engineer about Ondure Park. We know we have to put new water lines in Ondure Park. They're cast iron, they're closing up.
They're actually galvanized.
Galvanized,
Yeah.
and they're closing up. Now, Todd will go into his a little bit, and there'll be questions, but I'm asking the board to seriously consider this, and the timing is important because to do his surveying and mapping out, winter is the time to do it because the leaves are off the tree for some aerial pictures that need to be part of this presentation. But I want to bring to everyone's attention also, this came to light to me, and it would be on this table whether Central Hudson was, even if Central Hudson was not interested in installing gas lines, because when the fire happened at the wastewater treatment plant, being on site, I realized there was a water issue. At the time, when the fire was going on, I only knew there was a water issue, I didn't know what it was. The flow to the wastewater treatment plant comes from the area of Ondure Park. And they had an aerial down there at the fire, and it wasn't even reaching the fire. Now that's serious, not only for the wastewater treatment plant, but for other structures at homes. Okay, so there is a fire protection issue. There's even a health department is concerned about the lines we have down there. Plus, we need the health department's approval. That doesn't come overnight. And so we're looking to, if we all agree, the board agrees to do this, we're looking, for 2021 over this winter, putting everything in place. So you all know, and it'll be a reminder that we do have bonding from a few years ago for water lines in Ondure Park, but we haven't initiated the bonding. There are economists that say, and I'm not an economist, that say this is the time if you're going to borrow, because we know recently one of the lending companies that we deal with was 0.5%. That's almost giving money away without any interest. 0.5%. I don't know, every day is another day and the numbers change, but that's what it was only a couple of weeks ago. But again, if Central Hudson was to put lines in, they would help pay for this job.
Is there a percentage that you know of that they said? So once the survey comes in, is there a certain percentage?
They didn't tell me. That's all
Yeah.
analytics. That they go based on how many bedrooms there are and each house, and we're not based on how.
Because that would be great if you did water drainage.
That's what we're trying to do.
The drainage issue.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, speaking of drainage, I want to touch on that, but do you know how many parcels or homes are in Ondure Park?
I think that off the top of my head, somewhere in the middle 40s.
40, okay, fantastic. So, I mean, if we look at this, I know the previous administration, they had looked at Satterley Grove and Roe Park area, and if they were gonna rip up the roads, they said, well, if we're in there doing drainage, we might as well do water, sewer at the same time.
Right.
And then pave it.
Yep.
So I was hoping, because I only seen in the packet, water and
I've also put together a proposal for sewer, but I didn't.
being that the roads are open.
Yep. Well, the thing with the sewer though, I wouldn't recommend ripping the sewer out and redoing it. I think you reline the sewers. So that doesn't require ripping up the roads at that point. But that was a discussion I was gonna bring up as well.
But
Not
we-
tonight.
Right, but we will be opening up the roads, so I don't know how old the sewer lines are down there.
Well,
But
the
it's something
sewer,
that we
the
should look
sewer is all laid up, is all clay pipes in most of those areas, and we had 2 or 3 collapses in the last 2 years down there that we had to fix.
Right,
There's structural lining that would be better and cheaper to do than it would be to rip up and re-put new.
in the clay pipe.
And the clay pipe, yep.
Okay.
You could burst it, line it, you're good to go.
Okay.
So we've had a lot of experience with that, where we've done 30,000 feet of it over in Carmel in the last couple of years. I would not recommend ripping up the ground just to put new pipe in when you could do this.
Yeah, that's the new technology.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure there's a separation down there, so we wouldn't even be
We can
in
keep the
that
water
same,
away.
in the same trench
Right.
when we do the water.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, we have had residents come here that had drainage issues
Yep.
down there. And we actually gave them the blessing because they said they were gonna fix it themselves. And I think we should look at any other drainage issues that are down there,
Mhm.
and at the same time, address those, because we will be ripping up the road,
Yep.
for lack of a better term. So why don't we do the drainage at the same time, and then when we go in and pave it, hopefully we don't have to go back,
We could definitely look at it, yeah.
and maybe.
I'm not prepared to discuss that tonight, I just.
No, no, and that's fine, and you know what, hopefully the viewers out there, in Ondiora Park will get in touch with the village board, down at Village Hall, and say, look, we have these drainage issues, because they're there all the time.
Mhm.
Their eyes are there all the
Yep.
time, so they can say, look, when we get these heavy rains, this is where the water is.
Yes.
This is our problem. And then, you can come in with your expertise,
Mhm.
and say, okay, maybe we need to put this pipe this way, we need a catch basin here, et cetera, et
Yeah,
cetera.
curve here, this and that, yep.
Correct.
One of the things, and I totally in agreement with that, and that's something I could look at and discuss at a further date. One of the things I highly recommend though is if we can tonight, is to potentially give me the go-ahead just to get the survey work done down there, because we need an aerial as well as survey work down there in order to move forward. One of my concerns right now is this is the last meeting that we have for this month, and we're into the second week of January, and we could potentially have snow on the ground at that point and everything else, and getting survey work done, it needs to really be done in the next 4 to 5 weeks, I think, in order to be sure that we're ready to go sometime early in 2021. Because if not, then we are gonna have open roads through the winter of 2021.
So what is it you need when you say survey? You're looking at aerials
I'm gonna do an aerial with control,
with
and then
topo?
we have to do, with topo, I'm gonna do 1-foot contours, and then I have to send the surveyor out after the controls to pick up all the inverts, effluent, or, what do you call it, all the inverts of the pipes, all of the, everything else
The
that goes
rims,
along.
et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly, yep.
So with that being said, how big is the plate? And would that plate actually be big enough to encompass Satterley Grove at the same time?
I'm actually
when
proposing
it's-
to do the plate, which would be the entire village of Hunt Falls for the aerial,
Okay,
but only take the areas we need and have them do the planimetrics on the areas that we need. Because then we have at that point, we can go back and say, okay, now do this piece or go do this piece. So if we do Ondiora right now and say phase 2, you want to do Satterley 3 years from now, we already have the aerial done and they could just run the actual planimetrics on it to pick up the topo and all the valves and everything else at any
so
time.
that planimetrics plate isn't big enough to get both of those at the same time, is that what you're saying?
Oh, it could be, we could do as much as you want them to do, but I don't know if you
Can we
want
see
to
what the
spend all
cost
the
is?
time.
Can we see what the cost is?
I agree, yep, definitely, we could do that.
And it might
See
be
what that cost is to do what?
You have to do an aerial,
Yeah,
and the aerial, you're able to take, and then they do a computer representation of what's on the ground and pick that up.
but I thought you said that you were going to do, when you did Ondiora Park, you were doing everything anyway.
We're doing everything as far as the aerial is concerned, but we are only going to have the computer manipulate the areas that we need to give us the topo and the planimetrics, meaning the houses
Right.
and everything else.
Okay.
Well, I can get that put together and,
Yeah, like I said, maybe that plate's big enough when they do it, and maybe the cost is only a few more $1,000s, and instead of them reloading everything into the computer,
Yep.
maybe we spend a couple more $1,000s now, we have that topo for the next section, call it phase 2 if you will, and it's already done, or at least a portion of it.
Yep, I agree. I do, Mayor, have to step out though.
Okay, so,
And-
I will ask for a motion tonight to be
Okay.
able to do exactly what you're asking for.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. I'll be downstairs too if anybody wants.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, folks, let's go on to the agenda. Geez.
You don't want to do a motion now?
When I get into this, yeah, let me start. Okay, the public hearing, as written here on the agenda, proposed local law amending Chapter 235. That's the water, the water code that we have been postponing. The attorney is not ready to present one yet, and so what I'm going to ask for is a motion that the public hearing be adjourned until our January 4th. That's our first meeting in January 2021. And at that meeting, we'll decide, so that we don't keep this open, if we're going to massage the one that was read a couple of months ago. But a couple of folks, remember we had our meeting at the senior center and a couple of folks came and they brought up some legitimate concerns to see if we're going to massage the local law as written, but massage it to, if these folks had points that should be included, or put it to bed for until another time. All right? So if I could have a motion tonight that we adjourn the public hearing until January the 4th, 2021 meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by trustee Lizzie. Is there a second? Second by trustee Ramus. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. One absent. Okay. Thank you. We have minutes that we want to approve from our regular meeting, November the 16th, 2020. We'll do that one separate. If I could have a motion.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Livesey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain. That was a special one, correct, sir?
Nope.
Oh,
Regular
I'm
meeting,
sorry.
Regular meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. The next set is a special meeting on November the 28th, 2020. Trustee Ramus was absent. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Livesey.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Brian?
Yes,
Aye, and
Abstain.
one abstain. Okay, thank you. Okay, Gina? Thank you so much. Motion carried. Let's make the motion now, if you care to move, just to start to move forward with water lines in Ondiora Park after the presentation we were just given, which would only include at this point preliminary early on work.
Motion.
Second.
Jim, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like what we're looking for right now, like you said, preliminary information, which is a great thing, which will include the aerials. He's gonna look into the planimetrics and see how big of a plate. Hopefully, it would encompass phase 2 if that's how we're gonna go about it. But being money's cheap, maybe we can even look at Satterley Grove, see the pipes over there and the drainage. But this is the first step, and I like it.
We need to do it.
With that, sir.
We need to do it.
Yeah.
I will tell you also, just to add on to that, tag on another piece of the story, the main going down, heading south from Ondiora Park to Cragston is a 4-inch cast iron, which you know is not 4-inch now. Put it in 1930, 90 years ago. You know, so anyway, listen, there's one thing about this administration, us, we're taking care of the infrastructure. This is a continuation of that.
So
All right,
this is,
so
I'm sorry, they said that the gas lines go to the
Hacienda right now,
Hacienda.
but they're looking to put them in on your park.
Yeah, okay, no, I just wanted to know where they.
So we have a motion, Gina, do you have it, or you want it read again?
No, I have it.
Okay, do we, we have a motion, we have a second, roll call.
Trustee Howard?
Aye.
Trustee Livesey?
Aye.
Trustee Ramus?
Aye.
Mayor DiNapoli?
Aye, thank you so much, motion carries, thank you. Okay, next we have a a budget resolution. Whereas 2 checks totaling $6,476.35 have been received from travelers. And whereas this revenue has been designated to offset repairs to a police vehicle 931. Now therefore, be it resolved that due to unanticipated revenue, the Board of Trustees approves an amendment to increase appropriation budget A3120.04 police contractual for $6,476.35 and revenue code A2680 insurance recoveries for the same amount, $6,476.35 for fiscal year 2020 and 2021. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Recommended by our treasurer. Motion by trustee Livesey. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Roll
Motion
call.
carried. You want roll call? Okay, we'll have roll call.
Trustee Howard?
Sorry.
Aye.
Trustee Livesey?
Aye.
Trustee Ramus?
Aye.
Mayor DiNapoli?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay, we have bills and claims, and it's going to sound high, but I'll explain quickly. For fiscal year 2021 of $605,055.46. And just so you know, over $400,000 of that is the annual payment that the village makes to the retirement system. So that's why that amount is high tonight. May I have a motion to pay bills and claims?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Livesey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much. All right. Let me go through this, if you will.
The meeting thing?
Change the reading.
What did I say?
21st.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm asking that our next meeting, our next regular meeting would be Christmas week, December 21. I'm asking that we postpone that meeting, but we do have to still pay bills and claims. And so that morning of the 21st of December at 8:30, for the sole purpose of paying bills, would be that morning at 8:30 on December 21. So what a motion would be is to cancel our December 21
Change
meeting,
the time.
but just change the time to 8:30 for the purpose of paying bills.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. Just give me a second. All right, let's do the numbers with the virus, and they're quick, but they're high. As of today, 18,354 cases in Orange County, and that's going up very much every day. Since Friday, today's only Monday, in Orange County, there's been a reported 514 cases
Since Friday.
since Friday. There's been 4 deaths. They have been senior citizens. So we need to keep everyone in our prayers. This is not good. That's a total of 545 in Orange County since this started. There's 1,600 active cases, and it's a little more than that actually, but 1,600 plus active cases in Orange County. The town of Highlands, since the count has started, has had 462 cases. We now, most of those folks got better, praise God. Right now in the town of Highlands, active cases 42. So that brings me to the next portion about the virus. I spent a lot of time last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, calling people that I know. I think it's okay to say pulling strings to get a testing site here in Highland Falls. And so here's what I've been able to do. Starting Monday, a week from today, December the 14th, and I'm hoping folks will listen to this and maybe write some dates down and times down. if you have a pad and pen. All this information, if you don't write it down, will be on the village website come tomorrow morning. Correct?
It's there now.
It's there now. And I will soon put something on Channel 23, and then we always have our faithful News of the Highlands to report things that are worthy. So, what we're going to do here is have a testing site. There'll be a mobile unit next Monday, the 14th of December, and again the following Monday, December 21. So 2 Mondays in a row at the lot across from Sacred Heart. There'll be a tent set up. It'll be like if you've seen what goes on down in Anthony Wayne in a much smaller scale, same as that. You'll stay in your car. You'll actually have those that can drive. You'll actually have almost a small time frame when to come, and they'll be backed up with cars, but that's going to be okay. It'll move. Those that don't have a car, which is a lot of folks in this community, don't worry. Special arrangements for you to have your test done without being in a car, if you can't, will also be made by contacting me, and I'll make the arrangements. But there'll be as I said, a mobile testing unit at lot number 2 across from Sacred Heart a week from today. It'll be there from 9 to 4. If it needs to stay a little later, it will. There's no cost. I want folks to note, there's no cost for the village to do this at all. Individual insurance. If you have health insurance, your individual insurance will pay for this test. If they only give X and the price is more, the company will only take X from your insurance company. So there'll be nothing out of the patient or the person having the test. There'll be nothing out of your pocket. There will be no deductible. No deductible charged by the company or by your insurance company. Your individual insurance will be billed for the patient's assessment, only if you have insurance. Now, to get on the list, there's a simple form that you have to fill out. It's not much. Name, address, who your pharmacy is, who to contact. The regular kind of form that we all have to fill out when we go to the doctors. An emergency number, that kind of stuff. It's very simple. It's one-sided. You'll fill this out. You'll return it to the village hall, to the mayor's office. We have a system downstairs that we've gone over with the village clerk and the ladies that work downstairs. This is all going to flow nice.
When can they get those forms?
Tomorrow morning, they'll be in the lobby. The ladies will have them. We'll have it on
On the website.
the website where you can print it yourself. You don't even have to bother coming to the village hall. If you can get on the village website, you'll be able to print this simple form.
With the results, Mr. Mayor, will they have the results then and there, or there's no?
They'll have the results, Merv, not right away.
Not right away.
Not right away, but soon after.
Yeah.
And this Horizon, and I say Horizon, it doesn't matter if you go to Cornerstone and you don't go to Horizon. None of that matters. You can go to a doctor in Timbuktu. You can still come here and have your test done.
Right,
Okay, so, and they'll call you with the results.
very good, very good.
They're going to call you with the results. If we need additional days, we've been told we can have additional days. You drive up to the trailer, and then they'll test who's ever in the car, whoever wants it done. Without a car, again, get in touch with the village clerk or myself, and we'll make your arrangements for you. We're going to make it very easy for you. They're looking at each car taking 5 to 10 minutes. Now that's nice to put in print. We know things don't always work that way, but it doesn't take long. Is Mary Jane there? Mary Jane, do you have any questions?
No, but you didn't clarify that, you have to turn that form back into Village Hall by Friday.
Oh, I'm sorry,
You
thank
can't walk up or
you.
drive
Yes,
up.
this form, whether you come in and get it, or you get it online and get it printed, you have to return it by Friday, so that we can communicate to the folks that are coming before Monday. We would like it by noontime Friday, so that we can line up all these folks that come in with it to be able to be tested a couple days later on Monday. So it's important. You can bring it in on Thursday. You can bring it in Friday morning. And then if you don't get it in, bring it in the following week, and then December 21 will be your date. Is that okay, Mary Jane?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
No
Yeah.
walk up.
the anticipated return on your results?
I'm sorry?
The anticipated return on your results again
The
was?
time frame?
Yeah, about,
Jim, I will just say very soon.
okay,
It might not be that day,
yeah,
but soon,
okay.
very soon.
Okay.
Very soon. That's a question everyone's gonna have.
Emphasize no walk-up, must be by.
Yeah, like I said, no walk-up. You have to be in a car, but if you don't have a car, maybe you don't have a car, maybe you don't drive, but you know someone does, do it that way. The only person that has to register is the person that's gonna have it in the car, which might not be the driver. Right?
No, I believe everyone has to register.
No, everyone has to register. What I'm saying is if a person doesn't have a car and a person doesn't drive, they don't have a car, but they can go in someone else's car, is all I'm saying. Okay, but if you can't, if you are truly a walk-up, you come see the village, you come see Regina Taylor, and we'll make the arrangements for you. Hopefully I haven't confused too many people. I see some folks looking at me. Anything else, Mary Jane, Regina?
Just that we have to pre-register.
You have to pre-register
By Friday, it's gotta be on there.
by Friday,
Mhm.
before the Monday that you want to go.
Right, the 11th.
Okay. I should have said that. Thank you. It looks like a 2-day result, Jim. It looks like about a 2-day you'll get your results.
Mhm.
Okay? You'll be given a PIN number, so if you want to call them for your results, you give them your PIN number, they'll tell you. Okay. Thank you. The reservoir, which was an issue for a few weeks, and it was probably the only time in 30 years I lost sleep over an issue, has been to some degree rectified with the rain. Right now, we're feeding off Glycerin Hollow. It's running quite rapidly right now. I saw it today. Bog Meadow is locked down. Nothing's leaving Bog Meadow. I'm sure you can't see these pictures, but here's when it was very, very bad. Here's a few days ago. You can see all this got filled in. I am happy to report that we are at 65%. I couldn't be happier.
That's great.
It filled up quicker than I thought.
That one
So-
day was a lot of rain.
Yeah.
That one day.
So, we're out of the woods. Now, does that mean this is over with? No, this is not over with, because I personally don't want to go through this again. And so with Todd, our engineer, and you folks, I'll be discussing alternatives to add to the water level the gallons that Bog Meadow holds by doing a couple of projects up there. In the near future, we'll talk about that, and maybe in the spring move forward with it. I don't want to go through this again. It was bad, and there's ways we can impound more water. So we'll talk about it.
Another quick question, so, how are we doing on the leaks? Have all of our known leaks been
All of
fixed
our
yet?
leaks, today, Fort Putnam was fixed, the housing, the residential leak. Center Street leak was fixed today. The new valve has been installed at the water plant.
Yep.
The school is nice and tight now. I don't have the list in front of me, but we're okay.
So there might be one or two more out there.
I don't know that. No,
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, great.
You know.
So it sounds like we've
Yeah.
addressed the ones that we know of.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're good. That was imperative that everything be fixed. I can't cry if everything's not fixed, because it's up to us to fix it. So, good question. Okay. Okay, spray and neuter of cats. We're moving forward. That project is open now. Simple form. You come in. This is a very simple form to either spade or neuter cats and stop this population and protect the cats too. It's to protect them too. You go out here in the wintertime, you see them. They have no homes. I don't know how they eat, and they certainly don't stay warm. So this cuts down on the cat population. It's a simple form. You come in, you fill this out. You can do it downstairs. You can take it home and come back. You give $25 to the village. The village signs off on the bottom here, gives you this back. You take this piece of paper and you take this piece of paper and your kitten or your cat and go get it neutered or sprayed. And that's the end of it, and somewhat of a happy ending here to some degree. That has started. Anything you want to add to that, Regina?
No.
No? Okay. This,
How many so far? Have we had any come in?
one.
Just
One today.
Okay,
And
good.
no one knows yet.
Mhm.
It was in the paper, but, I mean, we're really starting it now. We had to wait for these certificates to come from Tara. They have come. And I have talked to Tara. There's a Monday that they go to the Walmart parking lot in Monroe. And there's another Monday they go to the parking lot of Walmart in Newburgh. And in the spring, we're going to, so that's two close places that you can go right now. But there'll be times come spring and summer where I am going to have the mobile unit come here. So that'll help folks that don't have to go to Monroe or Newburgh. We have a notification here of a grant. I've relayed this paperwork to Tracy at the LA Group that has done a lot of our grants for us. And this is a consolidated funding application for Main Street. And so we will apply after Tracy and us, we sit down with her to express what we think we need for Main Street. But this is a consolidated funding application for Main Street, which we'll take advantage of. Okay. We just recently received notification of a grant from the county for $125,000 for our senior citizen center. It will be to drop the ceiling, thus saving energy, whether it's air conditioned or heat. We're going to install LED lights. We're going to have a nice patio built. It also is going to take care of the ADA ramp that's out front. That's in very bad condition. Actually, there's no ramp there. It's concrete steps that are in bad shape. And also some windows for the building, replacement windows for the building. But I do want everyone to realize this is 2021, and knowing the way grants work, this money will come about 2021, 2022. A tree, Christmas tree. This Christmas tree was donated today, and it was planted already over at Roe Park. If you're looking at the pavilion and you're looking at Berry Hill, it's to the right. where the bathrooms are, but more to the right. And you'll see it there now. It's in the grass, all by itself. Nice, looks very nice. And this tree was donated by Chris Ridgway. And she wanted to do something for the community. And we talked over a couple of times that we met. And we decided to put it there. It's the northwest corner of Roe Park. And this is going to be, of course, it's 2020, so this is going to be for the children of 2020. And to go there anytime they wish to put decorations, Christmas bulbs, homemade or bought. But it's for the children to decorate the tree. Whenever you wish to go, the parking is there around Roe Park for your parents to bring you. And
Well, you know, it'd be nice if children get decorated for Easter, they get decorated for
we
Halloween.
can do it for other
they get
holidays,
decorated
St. Patrick's Day, Easter,
Yes,
you're right.
okay.
You're right, that's a good one, that's what we'll do.
Mhm.
But this is a way that, let's let the children know that, you know, this virus has been going on, and we think of ourselves, and we think of the seniors as we should, and all the people we know we should think of, we do. But part of that group is the children, because they're getting it too. And this is to show them that we think that the children of this community are strong, mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's what this tree is all about. This tree is for the children of this community who have, for months now, gone through the same thing that we're going through with this virus. So let's take advantage of this. And if you see anyone over there, you're over there a lot, I'm going to go over more, but stop and say thanks.
Mhm.
That's your tree.
Absolutely.
That's your tree to them. Okay, thanks. This Thursday, a couple days from now, the 10th? Yeah, the 10th of December at 4:30, it'll be dark. We're going to light, I have the Cashman family coming to the Village Hall lobby to light the first menorah light. There's a beautiful old, it was found recently, old menorah downstairs in the lobby. I had the guys work on it, it's working, they fixed the electricity to it, the electric, and I'll have the Cashman family come to light the first light this Thursday at 4:30. The lights on Main Street. Every night I see them, and it actually brings joy to me every time. I'm not getting tired of it, and every night I see it. Tonight I see it. I'll think the same way as I did last night and tomorrow night and every other night. It's absolutely beautiful. So I want to thank the Village Board for supporting my efforts there. I want to especially thank the Highway Department and all those involved, Jim Conley and his son and help for making this all happen. They did all the work, and it looks spectacular. The lights going across the street, older people like me will remember when that was done. The fire department used to do it. It was when they had colored lights. I don't even know if they had white lights at that time. I bought that old time thing back, and I'm happy with it. And you know, it's faith and hope. And that's what those lights are. Yesterday, a quick story, very quick. Yesterday at church, a couple stopped me. Their mom had to move in with them and had to sell her home, move in with them because she's older, and they were worried about her falling, and they didn't really want her to be alone and her eating, and now she lives with them, and that's great. But I would imagine you get a little depressed, and you know, having to move away from your home and new surroundings and everything. Well, they told me yesterday, that they took their mother for a ride and through Main Street just to look at the lights. And they said, you should have seen my mother's face. It just took all those sad feelings away. It made her happy. It was festive. And it was just a great little story. And that's what it's doing. That's what it was for. That's what it's for.
It was on
That's
Facebook.
exactly what it's
It was
for.
on Facebook today. Somebody shot it, driving
Great.
around. It was great.
That's exactly what the lights were supposed to do. I don't have a second reason. That was the reason. That is the reason. I'm almost done. I don't have the paper with me. I bring this up every couple of meetings. The village clerk here, Regina, has been working on all the grant reimbursements. Some of what we saw here, not all of our grants. She has recovered a lot of paperwork. It's a tremendous amount of paperwork, a tremendous amount of time. Close to $800,000 we have recovered, as we should. We know we're going to get it back, but it's doing the paperwork. It's taking the time. It's following up. It's getting an email back after you submitted something that you missed something. It's all this stuff that goes on. So she's working on that. We're almost at 100% with almost 800,000. There's a little bit left to go. Jim Scoofus owes us a little bit. And so the next time I report, which will be next year soon, I think I'll be able to report that 100% has been received back. Gene, I only say thank you. That's not a lot that I can say. Thank you, though. Okay. I was going to read these two letters, but I'm going on too long. This is a letter that was sent from me to the governor, and this talks about businesses on Main Street in Highland Falls, small businesses, the lifeline of our community. We're concerned if we're shifted to orange or red. We're all in yellow now. But if we go to orange, which is the next level up, these businesses, some of them are going to close down. And then we have a problem. More of a problem. We have a problem, but now we're going to have more of a problem. So I'm just asking for a little dialogue here with the governor's office on making the village of Highland Falls orange. That's not what he's doing at this point. But if this doesn't get corrected to some degree, the metrics, then we're going to go to orange. And then we're going to have closures of restaurants and businesses. And that we're not going to like. We've worked very, very hard to keep Main Street alive. All of us, including the residents who shop, including the shopkeepers for opening up their store when they know they're not going to have any business. We've all have done well here, and we need to hold on. So this letter here went to the governor. My last letter here went from myself to the garrison commander at West Point, Colonel Roselle, asking her that we still have to continue to talk about the water supply. And also I mentioned in this letter, I want a list of the chemicals that are used on the golf course. And I also want a list of potential contaminants at where they're building the new golf clubhouse. The water from Glycerin Hollow goes through there on its way to our stream. And I want to know what protections have been given to protect our water and what contaminants, if any, are there, because I don't want them entering, I don't want any of that nonsense entering the village water supply. Also in this letter it mentions putting meters over at the old Lady Cliff property, which they promised me years ago, and promised me a few years ago, and promised me a couple of years ago, and there's no meters there. So I'm going to get rid of that real quick. But that's the gist of the letter that was sent December 2 to West Point. I'm sorry for that list of items. Mr. Howard.
Okay. I want to thank John Jones for bringing down the soldiers to the park, Lady Cliff Park, so we could put those up. Yesterday, with the cold, windy day, some people from Vision came down and decorated the park, Lady Cliff Park. Carol Spizzo was one, Beth and Kate Feldman were there, a gentleman named Alex who lives in the village, and Joanne and Ray Devereaux were there. And people were stopping by and saying, thank you for doing that, it looks good. I want to also thank the people who have donated money, have picked up some gifts for children, have brought food to homes, and coats. Today, the center, we went down to the middle school, we dropped off several bags of gifts. The teachers and the faculty are working together. Right now, we have local banks who are collecting toys and food. Villages doing toys and food for pets. Local banks and other organizations are stepping up. You know, throughout the country, people and organizations are really making sure people are going to eat, they're going to be sheltered, and they're going to have holidays. At times, the news we receive is always kind of dim and dark, and it's really time, as I see it, to celebrate our humanity together. When the mayor was mentioning Hanukkah, the Jewish holiday, I started thinking about when I was a principal in elementary school, and a second grader came down to see me, and they said, are you Jewish, Mr. A? I said, no, I'm Catholic. And they said, you know, I just talked to a friend of mine, they have 8 nights of Hanukkah. We only have 1 for Christmas. I said, well, all right, I understand that. I said, how many gifts do you get? He said, well, you know, sometimes I get 8 or 9. But can you imagine 8 nights? So being
He's not giving up the 8 nights.
So being a teacher, I said to him, let's say you get 9 gifts for 8 days. How many gifts is that you're going to get? He said, I don't know. I said, well, then conversation's over until you get me the answer. So he came back a day later and he said, 72. I said, right. He said, but you know what my friend told me? I said, no. He said, for 8 days of Hanukkah, sometimes the first night you get the big gift and then you get little gifts. Or you get little gifts and then the night you get the big one, the end of Hanukkah. He said, we're even, I'm going to stay with Christmas. Thank you.
Mr. I want to say this, that you mentioned Joanne and Ray Devereaux.
Yeah.
You know, and there's others.
Yeah.
There's others. There's Mrs. Dapper. There's, give me some other names.
Mrs. Lent.
Who? I'm sorry.
Mrs. Lent.
Mrs. Doris Lent. Like me, these are old timers. And every year they do it.
Yeah.
Every year they come out and they do it on a cold day.
Cold windy.
You know, and so they deserve credit because those areas that they did, they look nice.
Yeah.
Jimmy?
So, a couple of things. Mr. Mayor, you spoke about the water issue in the letter that you sent to the Garrison Commander. Driving by, and I can see what I can see. There definitely looks like they're doing their stormwater management practices, erosion control, things like that. You touched on a couple other things, obviously, that we can't see from the road, and I patiently await their answers to that. Good looking out for especially that portion of the stream. But like I said, it appears that, you know, they are adhering to New York State standards on the project that I can see. So in the building department,
You know, Jim, I also wanted to put them on notice because I don't know that they would know this, but that's our drinking water.
correct.
They might just think it's a stream
Yeah,
that goes to the Hudson.
yeah,
It doesn't, it goes to our house.
correct.
So that's all, good.
No, I
I
totally agree. I'm glad that letter got sent out, sir. So as far as the Consolidated Building Department, they gave me their report for November. So in November, they had issued 11 permits. They got 11 permit applications. They issued 10 permits. They did 8 COs, and they did 17 building permit inspections. There was no fire inspections for the month. There was no violation notices issued. Again, like I said at the last meeting, that's probably because the grass ain't growing anymore and people really have extra time now and they are cleaning up their yards. So pat on the back to the residents for sure. They did a few searches 8 municipal searches, they had 3 FOIL requests, and they did a total of 17 physical inspections. So they are kind of busy down there. The new secretary that they have, Jessica, fantastic person, fantastic. With that being said, I know with COVID and everything, people don't have jobs. So there are some job listings out there that the DEC has. There are minimum qualifications, but some of the ones that are out there, and most of these, the deadline is by December 18th. They are looking for climate policy analysts. There's 2 positions on that. They're looking for an environmental analysis. There's 2 positions on that. And they are looking for attorney assistants. And I believe they have 3 on that. Most of these are permanent or contingent on, I guess, your job performance to become permanent. So there's some things out there, if people don't have a job and these are your specialty fields. New York State is hiring, so go on their website and look for the application, download it, and get it in. You might be that lucky person. The EPA, I did a couple of classes with the EPA talking about water, and they were very informative. And the next one will be tomorrow, and it talks about water technologies for small drinking water. I can give you all a report on that, or if you want, I can give you the website, and you can actually download it after the fact. But the EPA always gives great information, especially with water issues that we are having. It's a great place to go.
Jim, can you give that to the 2 guys up at the water plant?
Yes.
Good, thanks.
Also, there is the annual artwork for Arbor Day contest going on at the DEC. So any artists out there that want to try to be that special person for the artwork poster contest, you have until December 31st, and they will replicate your art, and it will hang, and they will use it on their calendars. So any artists out there that have that knack for it, it would be beneficial for you to get that in before the end of the year. And one last thing, Mr. Mayor. I showed you guys briefly downstairs the solar parking area coverings. I just want to show the people out there. This is something that hopefully we are going to discuss as a village board, possibly where we could put it. This will generate electricity that what we don't use here in the village we'll be able to sell back to Orange and Rockland, or they will give us a credit on our bill. Not only would it be great for the environment with the solar energy, but it would give us a covered place to have events, possibly within inclement weather. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If any of the residents have an idea where they might want to see one of these, another great place would be maybe up at the school. So, you know, the cost will definitely offset itself as the years go on. And like I said, it can have multiple purposes. The last thing, Mr. Mayor, the Main Street corridor, they're continuing, O&R, free of charge to us, have continued the lighting. We're almost complete with that. Well, O&R is. There's a few more that they have to address. And we have a couple on the bypass that are going to be on the next schedule. And as we continue to work with O&R on the lights that we request to have done, and they go up into the residential areas, they will be the same lumens that are in the lights now. Main Street was lit up because it puts a whole new, no pun intended, a bright light on our Main Street corridor. A lot of people really like that, especially when you go down to the other end now that they did towards Aristotle's and that, and a lot of people use that for hiking and jogging in the morning. And right now it's lit up. They feel a little safer in the morning. So, you know, we're working on that.
That's a good point, Jim, and I think also the point that to be soft in a residential area.
Correct.
Because there's a lot of concern about that too, because I know there's been people that have driven down there saying, wow,
Yeah.
you know, this is really lit up. But again, you know, to be soft in a residential area is a great thing, because we're not, you know, you want to, you don't need the UFO outside your house. So.
Correct, and I have the
That's
charts
great.
of what the lumens are there now,
Yeah.
and I'd be more than happy to go over them with
Yeah,
you.
that's fine.
And we could pick out the lights once we get into the residential sections.
Mhm.
But we still have to be aware that at the dangerous intersections where there are bright lights now, we still need those brighter lights, but not to exceed the lumens that are there now.
Right, right.
That's it, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Just a couple things I have. Mr. Mayor, you brought up the businesses. And I have to tell you, I appreciate you saying that, because in March, when this started, we actually got through with our parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade. But we know that the COVID was out there. And it wasn't shortly after that is when the hurt part of the businesses came through. So now in reality, if you want to think about that, we're only 3 months away from being almost a year now, that businesses have lost a huge, huge percentage of their business. Now, one thing I have to commend you, Mr. Mayor, and the DPW, is the lighting out here for Christmas, for the holidays. It's absolutely spectacular. It's beautiful. It really, really is. But one thing I've noticed, and I think we've all noticed, when you go through Main Street, it's quiet. There's not much out there. Now, I've spoken about this a couple times, and I think that maybe somewhere we can be able to find some kind of spending for this. I would really like to see something at the one entrance coming into Highland Falls and at the other entrance, some kind of signage that will say that there's shops or food or something. So when people are driving down 9W, there's the Hotel Thayer sign there, the little small one, there's a road sign, but as soon as you get past the car wash, there's that exit that comes up. But when you're driving and you're not from the area, maybe that would be great to be driving and seeing a sign that says eateries, or however we should have a meeting and sit down and look at this and figure, hey, one signage this way here, maybe one up by the, you know, the Stony Lonesome up by there, some kind of signage up by there. But I really think we should do this for the businesses to try to attract people from that 9W to coming in.
Merv, what I'll do, it's a good point. We have only a couple of ins and outs to get into the village.
Right.
Let's get the chamber's input. I'll go to the chamber, tell them about what we think. Let's either sit down with them, have them recommend where the signs, probably at least 2, should go, and what they should say.
I think that would really, it's not going to, you know, if 3 cars come off a day because they've seen the signs, it's better than no cars coming off. But as you were saying, we don't know what's going to go on here. We don't know what next month is going to bring us. We don't know what the month after that's going to bring us. But for right now, these businesses that are down here, they need it. They need what we can get. Just to echo on Brian real quick, the families that are out there that are in need, there's a lot of them. And I really hope that if folks are watching this tonight, or you know, if anyone knows of anybody, there's help out there. There's a lot of help. And if you know of somebody that you may see that, hey, listen, you know, these folks have children, they don't have a tree, they don't have money for this. There's so many people that are out of work right now, so many. And you have the holidays coming up, and there's a lot of help, but you can't help if you don't know.
I will tell you this, talking to Brian and the center and the school nurse and the churches and what I do downstairs in the lobby, and there's others, there's a lot of others. The banks, it's out there. Now, some people, you know, it's hard to ask, I understand. But people are, People are, and then again, it's someone I might know, someone you might know, the school nurse might know. The
Right.
school, see, the school is a wealth of information for this,
Mm-hmm.
for the needy,
Right,
because they see those kids every day.
exactly.
I have some families that I know, and so little by little, do you reach everyone? Sadly, you probably don't,
Mhm.
but everyone is trying.
Right. And I just want to say too that, if there is something where we have to, put some funding towards a study or whatever it should be, what you're bringing up about the water, finding other resources, I think that's a must of an idea.
Yeah.
I really do, because, a drought, whatever it should be,
Yeah.
again, we need to have, I know you lost sleep.
I did, I really did. Anyway, that's my job. So I will tell you, come January, in a few weeks, we're going to, we have some very big projects like that one. And we're all gonna sit down. I have a list of all the watering sources that I and Todd can come up with. Some that are possible, some that aren't. Water from the Hudson, there's a lot of problems with getting water from the Hudson. But I put them all down, even ones that aren't feasible. And we'll talk. We'll talk, okay?
That's all
I forgot to mention one last thing, Mr. Mayor. So there was an article in the paper, the local paper, and I spoke about it at a previous meeting, the Community Choice Aggregate. Ms. Anderson is spearheading that. I know she reached out to you. You're going to speak with her. And I would ask the residents to go on the town website, take a look and see that presentation. And we are hoping to have one here, hopefully within January, with maybe another perspective, a couple of different people besides the ones that came up from NIAF. So we can get some more input and see if it's going to be viable for the village residents. Thank you.
We will.
And just one last thing I have. That's it, and I'm done. Go Army.
I will, I actually am, okay, that's right. And I'll tell you why go Army, for more than one reason. I will go to the chamber with this,
Okay.
let's see what they come back with. Okay, so go Army. So usually I make the call, but this year I received a call from the mayor of Annapolis who wants to do a wager. I'll know tomorrow at 4 o'clock what his wager is. Mine will be a New York pizza. I don't intend on losing. I think Army is going to take care of business on Saturday and come out the winners. But you're right, go Army, okay? Even though we do have some Navy people in town. But go Army. Okay, a couple real quick things. Don't forget the tree at Roe Park. For the children, it's their tree, not my tree, it's their tree. Decorate it. And I love your idea, we'll decorate it for different holidays. Don't forget the tree in the lobby downstairs. There's an artificial Christmas tree. It's already starting to get envelopes with notes inside to the healthcare workers. On Christmas Day, I will drive to St. Luke's and deliver them. I think that'll mean a lot, especially on Christmas Day, to nurses and doctors and all those technicians and everyone who's going to be at the hospital. While we're home, they're going to be in the hospital. So don't forget that tree downstairs. We will talk in the next few weeks about many things, projects. A couple of them were brought up tonight, but one of them is going to be the building department. Right now, there's no building inspector. There's a code enforcement officer, and that's great. He's doing a good job. But their building department is without a building inspector again. And I have a plan that I'm going to present to the board, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We did the Army. Okay, the last thing is this, and this comes from not only myself, it comes from the board. So this is our last meeting before Christmas. So we want to wish everyone very, very happy holidays. That sounds happy, it's the virus, it's the COVID, it's the everything. But let's still enjoy these holidays. They're special. again, when you drive down Main Street, you know it's holiday time. We'll light the menorah in a couple days. We'll keep Christmas on our, December 25th on our minds. But this board wishes everyone, very, 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 very special. If you're home alone, if you can't have family members over, you can't go and see anyone in another place that they live, your kids. We have these computers now where your kids can be in the room with you. We have Zoom and all this other stuff that I'm just learning about. I have grandkids too, and I have 2 new grandbabies, twins, a boy and a girl. And so I can't see them on Christmas Day, but I'll see them. I'll see them. We'll all see who we want to see. We're all going to see who we want to see on Christmas Day, one way or another. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone. Thank you. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Well, you guys are quick on that one. All in favor? And you all answer this one too. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wow, that was the best one tonight. Motion carries. Thank you.